Hi guys, welcome to my channel. I will be discussing on pharmacology every single day by 6 p.m. I will be releasing a video. So follow along with the trend. Today we'll be discussing on introduction to pharmacology. We'll be discussing the definition of pharmacology, definition of drug, what are the drug categories that we have, how do we even name drugs, what is a prototype drug, and also the subdivision of pharmacology. That's what I will be discussing under this introductory aspect. So let's start with definition of pharmacology. Pharmacology can be defined as the study of how a drug can alter the physiological and biochemical function of the living organism. If somebody should take a drug, how can this drug affect the person's physiological and biological function? That's what pharmacology talks about. It deals with drug and how drug affects a living organism. Now, since pharmacology deals with drug, what is a drug? A drug is any substance that can bring about biological, physiological, or biochemical changes in a living organism. When you take a drug, anything that you can take that will bring about changes in your biological function, that will bring about changes in your physiological function, is actually a drug. To that end, hormones are actually drugs. Just that hormones are drugs synthesized by the body. Hormones can bring about biological changes, so they are drugs. Most drugs that we talk about today, paracetamol, metronidazole, these are xenobiotics. Yes, they are foreign compounds that we take into our body that can alter our biological functions. Poisons and toxins are drugs. It is important to know that toxins are actually poison, but just that they are of biological origin. That means they are from plants and animals. So the poisons that are from plants and animals that are biological in origin are referred to as toxins. Now let's now move on to drug category. Under drug category, we have non-prescription drugs that you can just buy over the counter. You can just get them from a chemist. Example, we have vitamin C, we have antacids. Also, we have prescription drugs, the ones that a doctor actually prescribes for a patient and the patient gets those drugs. Antidepressant, you don't just get antidepressant anyhow. You need a prescription of a doctor to actually get antidepressants. Antibiotics, doctors are supposed to prescribe antibiotics, so though these days people take antibiotics even without a doctor prescription. So those are prescription drugs. Let's now move on to the naming of drugs. The naming of drugs have different names. Each drug have different names. There's what we call the chemical name of a drug. The chemical name of the drug is actually the name that the drug gets due to the chemical constituent that is used for making that drug. A drug that is produced from a particular chemical will actually have that chemical name. Do you get? Next, the generic name is actually the name that is given by a body after they've seen that, let's say the United Nations have actually checked this drug and they see that this drug is actually very potent and therapeutic. They will give the drug a name. That's the generic name. Then the trade name is actually the name that the company that is producing the drug actually gives the drug. It's also known as the brand name. It's the name that they normally call drugs. Now, to move on to drug prototype. What's the prototype? If you have a group of drug, let's say within that group we have 10 examples of drugs there. There's one drug there that is very important, that have the peculiar feature, that is it has lot of features that that whole group share. It's called the prototype, like is the typical example of that group of drug. So that's what we refer to as a prototype. Yes, like a typical example of that group of drug is the prototype. You get? Okay, next let's talk about this, the subdivision of pharmacology. Pharmacology is subdivided into two large groups, the pharmacodynamic and the pharmacokinetic. But some other persons may add others like pharmacotherapeutic and clinical pharmacology. For the purpose of this tutorials, I will mention the four together: pharmacokinetic, pharmacodynamic, pharmacotherapeutic, and clinical pharmacology. So we'll be discussing on each of them little by little. Pharmacokinetic. Whenever you take in drug, your body try to act on that drug. Your body will absorb the drug. The drug will move to different part of your body. Body will transport it to various regions. The body will break it down and the body will excrete it. This is pharmacokinetic. The effect of the body on drug. What does your body do to that drug? How do your body break that drug down? That's pharmacokinetic. So pharmacokinetic consists of drug absorption, how the drug is being absorbed by your body absorb it. Drug distribution, how your body distribute this drug to different parts. Drug metabolism, how your body break down this drug. And drug excretion, how your body excrete the drug away, because the body does not need the drug forever. Drug metabolism is also called biotransformation, so you can take note of that. Pharmacodynamic deals with the effect of drug on the body. If you should take a drug, what does this drug do to your body? That's pharmacodynamics. How does the drug act? What's the mechanism of action of this drug? What is the side effect of these drugs? This is what pharmacodynamic deals with. What about pharmacotherapeutic? Pharmacotherapeutic deals with the application of pharmacokinetics and pharmacodynamics in preventing, diagnosing, and treatment of diseases. You know the pharmacokinetic of this drug. You know the pharmacodynamic of this drug. Now you applying that pharmacokinetic and pharmacodynamic in order to treat diseases, in order to prevent diseases, is what we refer to as pharmacotherapeutic. It's the clinical application of your knowledge of pharmacodynamic and pharmacokinetic. Next, clinical pharmacology. Clinical pharmacology deals with the method of evaluating the safety and efficacy of a drug. Before a drug enters into the circulation, into the market, it has to be evaluated if it is safe and if it is actually potent. The method which you actually use, which is actually used to actually evaluate the safety, the efficacy of a drug, is what we refer to as clinical pharmacology. So these are the four divisions of pharmacology. So far from this tutorial, you should be able to remember the definition of pharmacology, the definition of a drug. Know that toxins are drugs, but they are actually of biological origin. They are poisons of biological origin. Poisons and toxins together, they are drugs. Know the naming of drugs, the chemical name, the generic name, the trade name. Know the subdivision of pharmacology. Know pharmacology and its subdivision. The subdivision includes pharmacokinetic. You must know the subdivision of pharmacokinetic: absorption, distribution, metabolism, and excretion. Know pharmacokinetics, pharmacodynamics, pharmacotherapeutic, and clinical pharmacology. Tomorrow by 6 p.m., we'll be posting a tutorial on another topic on pharmacology. Please follow with the trend.